Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Late Night Q&A with ZodWriter. I am ZodWriter, and with me tonight, I am super excited. I got an awesome guest here tonight. This is Rexer from the Rexer Show. Those of you who have been following my channel lately know that I'm big into the home arcade scene and just arcades in general. Arcades are my thing. I'm into arcades more than any other kind of media or whatever. And I've kind of sort of split my time between talking about movies and things like that to now getting into this thing, and I love it so much. And I'm so happy, Rexer, to have you. Thank you for being here, man.
Well, thank you for having me on. I was shocked you asked me. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, I don't even know if I deserve to be on the ZodWriters channel, but I'm like, this is my chance for somebody to interview me this time, because usually I'm on the other side of the fence,
Well,
right? I got people on my show.
CES. I seen you at the CES show.
Mm-hmm.
And you do, and you just, and I love it because it's like you go for brass tacks all the time, and that's something I get excited about. I love people that just go for it every single time they have something to say, they have a question to ask. They don't beat around the bush. They just put it out there. And I saw you doing your thing at CES, and that's really cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I hate when people answer questions is vagueness, ambiguity, right? They're not giving you the answer that you want to hear, that the people want to hear. And that's kind of what, for those who don't follow me, I pride myself on pushing the envelope, right? In asking the questions that people don't want to be asked. Talking about the subjects that people don't want to talk about. So I pride myself on that. It does stir up controversy, and it does. Some people don't like the way I do it, but that's who I am. That's what I am.
I feel you. I've developed such a reputation that I've got a video out there on me where somebody literally screen sniped one of my videos, took all of my stuff out of context, and literally talked crap about me for like 2 hours, did a 2-hour live stream. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I try to be super positive. I try to, do good things in all the communities I'm involved in. So Rexer, believe me, man, I completely understand where you're coming from. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, because I feel like people that speak their minds, that speak the truth, are the ones that get the bad rep, because they say things, like you say, that people don't always want to hear.
Right.
And just because you don't want to hear it doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be said, because sometimes it needs to be said. What's up, Belle Reeve? Good to see you. What's up, everybody in the chat? Glad that you're all here for this show tonight. Having Rexer on, man, is a great thing. So let's get down to it, man.
Yeah, sure. However you want to start, man. What are you going to say that's going to trigger me, man? What are you going to say that's going to trigger me first?
What's your deal? Why do so many people hate you, bro? What's the problem?
Here's part of the problem. I'm going to say what's part of the problem is there is an arcade community who is arcade enthusiasts, right? They like real arcades. They like, that's all they like. And they stay away from the 3/4 scale. Let's just call it arcade one-up community. You could say At Games, you could say whatever, iArcade, you could say MVSX.
But arcade one-up, they pioneered it. So just say arcade one-up.
Okay, arcade one-up, community, right? So I caught myself in the middle of it. Okay, and that's kind of where I probably went wrong, right? I was more on the arcade person, arcade enthusiast, and then I finally said, okay, I got to be the voice of reason for these arcade 3/4 scale arcades, because everybody on the other side, the 3/4 scale arcade one-up community, was completely, I don't know what the word is, but it was, some people call it cult-like. They're blind. They're not, seeing, certain things the way it should be, the way arcade should be, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And so when I came out and I put Arcade One Up on my streams, on my chats, on whatever, and I say, this stuff is all wrong. This is terrible. I got, half the community or half my base that is throwing stones at me, right? Which is the 3/4 scale community. And the other half doesn't give a crap. So they're just on the sidelines saying, yeah, go get him, Rexer. You go get him. We're going to stay over here because we don't give a crap about what the 3/4 scale community is doing. Let them have their thing. And that's great. But I wanted to educate people, I wanted to educate we need to get this straight, because when Arcade One Up first came out, whatever it was, 3 years ago, I was one of the first people that when I saw it, I said, oh my God, I'm so excited. I want to buy this. I can't wait to buy this. This is fantastic. Right. And people don't know that I was all, but then I started looking at the specs, the details, crappy joysticks, buttons. It's not wide enough. It's not tall enough. The things made of, crappy 1/2-inch plywood, So then I kind of went, guys, gamers, right? Arcade people, this really isn't for us. I mean, this isn't for you. This is like a toy. And as soon as, we started talking that's where it all kind of lured me in. And I've been with that 3/4 scale kind of as part of my base as well. So that's where it all started.
But you've got a 3/4 scale arcade machine right behind you, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So to say that I don't know, can you actually say that you don't like the 3/4 scale community, or is it that there's things about it you don't like, but there's also things about it that you appreciate, like a lot of people in the community.
There is. Like, I'm not against emulation. I have no problem with it. That's an emulation. Now, I built that myself from scratch. So it's a quality build. It's got quality joysticks and buttons. It's wide enough for 2 people, right? It's got a nice lit marquee. It's got all the things that you should want, right, in an arcade that would be 3/4 scale. Now, you got to remember, back in the day, there were people making 3/4 scales arcade. Remember Rec Room Masters, right? They made 3/4 scale. You still have GRS, Game Room Solutions makes 3/4 scale arcades.
I just got an arcade from them not too long ago. It's a brand new Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary.
Okay.
Micro. It's about 2 inches tall.
Yeah.
But it looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. It's really nice, and the buttons and sticks are really high quality. And I did a mod. I did a mod on it thanks to Twisted Chris. I got some $20 speakers that I bought from Amazon that I plugged into it, and because the speakers were bad. It just made the whole arcade awesome. So yeah, Gaming Room Solutions / Arcade Mod Up. They make good products.
They make good products, and they're not perfect. They're not perfect, but they're much better. And I bought one a long time ago from Game Room Solutions. It was 3/4 inch wood. It was MDF. It wasn't crappy plywood. You could put your own buttons. You could do the art. You could do all the things that any arcade enthusiast would want at a higher quality. Yeah, it was a little bit more pricey, but not compared to what those Arcade One-Ups are costing now. Now it's like, well, wait a second. Why would I buy an Arcade One-Up when I can get one of these DIY kits? And when I talk about DIY kits, people like us, ZodWriter, who are more gamers, maybe know a little bit more about emulation, maybe know a little bit more about arcades. The DIY kits are for people like us. And that's who I thought that I'm talking to, right? If I'm talking to my mom and my grandma and they want to buy an arcade for, my cousin or something, I'm going to say, go get a One-Up. But when I have a gaming channel, when all these YouTubers have gaming channels, right? And they're gamers, right? They're arcade players, apparently. Why are we hyping up a subpar quality product, and misleading people? And that's where it went wrong for me too.
That's where it went wrong.
I started saying, you guys are misleading people. You guys who are these arcade experts, right? These YouTubers who now have jumped on the Arcade One-Up 3/4 scale community bandwagon, right? And started doing videos and talking about 3/4 scale arcades. they didn't even know the difference between a 4-way joystick and an 8-way joystick. They didn't understand that some games used 4-way joysticks and some games used 8-way. They didn't understand that some games have a vertical orientation with a different aspect ratio than horizontal game. They knew none of that, and I'm going, well, wait a second. Somebody's got to speak up here and go, that Galaga emulation that you see is running slow. And some people obviously did. Those joysticks that you think are good are crap. They're terrible. Those buttons are terrible.
One Up is notorious for their bad buttons and sticks. I mean, let's be honest. That's something that's never. And what I don't understand, Rexer.
But in the beginning, nobody knew that. Nobody was saying that in the beginning.
Nobody
was
saying
these are so awesome. I love these. They're great.
Nobody was saying that. You know why? Because it was the blinders that you put on because you're so excited to have an arcade in your house.
Yep.
It doesn't matter that they released 25,000 variants of Pac-Man.
Right.
It doesn't make any difference as long as it's the idea. It's like the beer goggles effect.
Yeah.
In a nightclub or a bar. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. You're excited and you don't see the imperfections. Because at that moment you don't want to see
it. You don't
All you
want
to do is get caught up in the nostalgia and get caught up in your love for that Galaga or that Pac-Man or that Mortal Kombat. You're not thinking about, the buttons and sticks are subpar.
Right.
The emulation is 2.5 seconds off a delay. There's no, some of the music is sped up or something isn't right, or there's this odd blurring or smoothing filter on Pac-Man that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
They got bilinear filtering,
but it doesn't matter because I can relive my childhood memories at this moment, and that's the thing that I think Arcade 1-Up did very, very well. They cashed in on people's nostalgia. On the fact that I can't get a 300-pound arcade machine and put it in my small apartment. That's not going to happen. But this 3/4 scale arcade machine I can have in the corner. I can relive some of my memories and nostalgia are their selling point. It doesn't matter about the plywood. It doesn't matter about the sticks. It doesn't matter about the buttons. All you have to do is pull the heartstrings of the consumer and you have a winning product. And for that, I got to give it to 1-Up because they know exactly how to do it. They knew exactly what the gateway was to get everybody into it. You start off small. You start off with, $200-$300 machines. You start off with the countercades. You get people in, and now you can jack the price up to $700 plus for Killer Instinct, over $1,000 for these Pro Line, whatever these are going to be. And it doesn't matter because you've already got people excited. You've got them hooked. You've got them to the point where they've got to have it because all you're doing is cashing in on that nostalgia over and over and over until you're like, there's like some YouTubers that have entire floors full of nothing but 1-Ups. And I swear to God, I think those are like the coolest looking things ever. But then I think to myself, I don't know, man. I'm kind of a multicade guy. I like having 1 or 2 cabs that can play 10,000 games. That's what I like.
Yeah. I mean, they were brilliant the way they marketed, the way they rolled it out. It was brilliant, right? And now they're making cabs like Killer Instinct, and they're almost worse than they were in previous models. The marquees are awful. The buttons and joysticks still suck. You got sound issues now, where it's not sounding as good. You got new things now coming out with the Killer Instinct that the power button's all jacked up. People can't even turn them on now. And it's not like a 1-Up.
I was going to ask you about that, but I really wanted to talk to you briefly about the Simpsons. Because I know a lot of people had issues with the Simpsons, and there were sound delays in the Simpsons. There was bad audio. The
Oh,
controls
we're all
the
messed up.
buttons
It was
were
a
all
total
messed up.
dumpster fire. It was a total dumpster fire.
And I always think that it's so funny because I've got a Unico MVSX cabinet,
Yeah.
the Neo Geo, which is a very well made cabinet, I must say, by the way, by the standards of which a lot of
Right.
these cabinets are made. I will say the MVSX is pretty dope. And the thing is, due to that infamous hack that got everybody in trouble, The Simpsons plays better on the high-low hack, which is what it's called, on the MVSX than the arcade one-up.
Oh, well, there's no doubt.
Dedicated cab.
It's going to dedicated cab. You couldn't remember. I mean, you couldn't even play Simpson. It was out of place. The joystick you couldn't even. You hit your thumb on the. I mean, there were so many things wrong with it, right? And yet you still have a lot of loyalists defending it, right? And I'm going. Here's another thing about Arcade One Up. They dragged you in with this online, right? These new X-Men is online. This is Simpson is online, right? They threw this little bone out there, right? And they started saying, look, we're putting these games online. Nobody's playing Simpsons online. Nobody's playing X-Men online. Plus, Simpsons, you could only play one player online at a time. You could only be, if you had a buddy over and said, hey, let's get online and play 4 people, we'll get 2 other people. Nope. Only one of you can play per machine online. They were getting worse, and yet people are like, no, these are good machines. That's where I had to speak up. That's where the whole thing comes up, with me speaking up and going, you guys are getting ripped off here. This is garbage.
Rexer, I'm gonna take it one step further and say this. The original arcade cabs never had online. So what? I mean, so what's the big deal? Like I've always wondered, okay, I could play online. That's cool, because that's a modern feature. Because nowadays you can't really go to the arcades like we used to be able to. Right. So now, if you want to play online, if I want to play The Simpsons with you online, that would be the thing to do. But my point is that that was never a thing. You could never. So when you have all this controversy now over things like the Killer Instinct spectator mode, that's a big thing people are talking about. There's no spectator mode on Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, there was never a spectator mode on any arcade cabinet back then anyway. Yeah. So in my mind, I say, well, it's a feature. It's a bonus feature. It's an extra. It's an amenity. So if they decide to put it on, that's cool. Yeah. But if they don't put it on, it's like
you can still play online just fine. You can still play online.
Are you going to complain about it or what? Now I'm going to be honest though. I think that's like one of the coolest features that they could have came up with, that spectator mode. And you have the great Akuma Rev who does put your quarters on the glass and does all these tournaments and stuff because of that spectator mode, making it possible to watch other people's matches to play. That's one of the most brilliant things that I think Arcade One Up could have came up with. Yeah. But now it's to the point where everybody is so used to the feature that it's a standard now. You can't pick and choose what machines you're going to put it on and what machines you want. You can't. That's the thing I don't understand about One Up. It's the inconsistency of this company.
Right. They botch everything that they come out with. They have never done right. Now, here's my plight with the Killer Instinct and the spectator mode. Okay, because I didn't do a stream and talk about it like everybody else. But here's my plight. Of all the things you're going to complain about on a Killer Instinct Arcade One Up, which actually, when we talked about spectator mode in the Killer Instinct, I actually was on the One Up side and was saying, good job, Code Mystics. Good job, Arcade One Up. Yeah, you made Killer Instinct playable online with emulation. I'm like, incredible job. And here's all the other people going, they don't care about the sticks and buttons. They don't care about the marquee washed out. They don't care about the sound. They don't care you can't play 2 players next to each other. They don't care that there's no player matching when it comes to ranking, where I don't want to play a guy who's an expert and I'm a novice. They don't care about, leveling matches. They don't care about multiplayer rooms where you could get 4 people in a room and winner stays. They don't care about any of that. They care about spectator mode. That's the one thing that flipped arcade loyalists out of all the things that they've done wrong, about putting buttons on the wrong side of machines, right? About artwork damage. I mean, you could go on
that
and
just goes
on
to show you how the nostalgia of being in the arcades and playing against other people is so important. That spectator mode and that online play has become the most important factor.
Yeah. And
in the eyes
still
of the
play
community.
Online though, Zod. You can still do it. If I bought Killer, I'm just looking at it from the outside, not the 20, 30, whatever the NWO.
And I love Code Mystics. I'm not gonna lie. Code Mystics, those guys are geniuses over there.
They've done a lot of good things.
Oh my God, they're incredible. Oh my God.
But what I wanted to say was about the online play. If I'm buying it, okay, and you got a super chat, do you want to get to that now?
I'll get to that right now. Thank you, Skywalker the Jedi. Says, great to see you back, Zod. Shout out to you, Rexer, too. Yes, Skywalker the Jedi, you are a real individual, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick drop here. We've got something special that I did.
Some soundbite drops
that I did. Hold on, let me see if I can get it here.
I like this.
Oh wait, no. That's the wrong. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. That was the Georgina video. That was the wrong one. I didn't want to do that one. Hold on. We'll do this again, Skywalker. Sorry about that.
This is the first. He's the first guy to get this bonus for
video
his,
file. Here you go. Let's
put this beautiful cab
upside down.
The 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat. Look at that side art. Look at Johnny Cage just jumping out. Look at how beautiful that is.
It's a nice cab.
Such a beautiful, beautiful cabinet. There's only one problem. Oh, yeah, it's got a light up marquee. That's cool. But there's only one problem, though. Well, 2 problems, actually. No spectator mode and no online play.
Oh, throw it out.
Yeah, that's sad.
But here's what I was getting at. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to forget my train of thought if I don't.
Go ahead.
Spit it out. If I'm a end user and I'm buying a Killer Instinct, right, and I'm playing and I go online, if I'm not one of the 30 NWO members or whatever they have, do I care that there's no spectator mode? No, I'm just getting on and playing. Just play. Just play the game. You can still play. That's what is important, that you can play, not that other people can watch you. When I came out with a comment somewhere, right, there were people who were like, oh, I bought this cab just so I could watch people play. And I'm going, you bought a $750 cab so you could watch people play it? I'm like, just go on Maximilian Dude and all these YouTube channels if you want to watch people play Killer Instinct, and you can see it anytime you want, So What do you mean you bought it just for spectator mode? You're buying it for the wrong reasons. And that's the other thing about some of these YouTubers.
That's what I agree with 1000% from my main man here, Mr. Twisted Gaming TV, Twisted Chris. He says, what's up, Zod and Rexer? I think we all speak our minds to the bone. I just get a little nuts at times with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Twisted Chris. I got to get you on this late night Q&A one of these days. We got to sit down and have this conversation, because I think we can all agree. If you buy a Killer Instinct machine, Rexer, like you just got done saying, man, you didn't buy it so you can watch other people play.
No.
You bought it so that you could play it yourself and enjoy the
game.
And as long as Code Mystics got the emulation right, and you can play it and you can enjoy it. I mean, Twisted Chris is doing the right thing. He's getting the great Bobby Vu to do his control panel with the HAP buttons and sticks, So he's going to be able to get the most out of this arcade one-up cabinet. But therein lies the question now, Rexer. These Pro line editions that are coming out that are going to come with hap buttons and sticks. Are those going to be? Or are we talking about nearly paying for an arcade one-up what you would pay for a real, honest to God, old arcade cabinet?
Yeah, I could never do that. I'm not paying 4 figures for an arcade one-up until, right, they make Mortal Kombat Pro, right, and it's a good machine. It's built well. It has good sticks and buttons. The marquee isn't washed out. It's a little bit wider so I can play 2 players. I'll never say never, right? I'm never going to say never.
And first and foremost, it has to have the Johnny Cage side art.
I cannot believe that. That's another thing, right? If I got one, right, I'm reskinning it and putting Johnny Cage on it, right? So that's another cost for it. I'm going to get the right side art for it. It's the first time in the history, right, of any arcade person where I've seen people go, oh yeah, I don't want the real artwork on my Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary. They sat there and begged and pleaded and said how great arcade one-ups were because they were the exact same artwork as the original. And they said, this is why I buy them, because they're exact same artwork. This is why I don't do DIY kits, because I can't get the right this. I love their artwork and their artwork's great. They come out with a 30th anniversary with a Medusa looking dragon tail on the side, and people are going, oh, it's okay. It's okay.
That's so exciting. Oh my God.
Yeah. It was just so awesome. This thing is awesome. Look how beautiful it is. What?
The cabinet, the 30th anniversary 2-foot tall cabinet that I got from the Gaming Solutions, the arcade mod-up people, with the Johnny Cage side art. That's how it's supposed to look.
Yes.
If it doesn't look like that, how do they justify it? And I guarantee you, when it comes out, it's not going to be the regular Legacy Cab price. No, it's going to be the price of probably the same price as Killer Instinct.
It'll be $750, the 30th anniversary, and then the Pro. And then if they ever make a Pro model, right? To me, it's not going to be less than $999. You know, it is not going to be less than $999 if they make a Pro model. So. It's amazing how, like, the arcade one-up community sometimes just goes with the flow, right? If somebody says, oh, it's okay, this thing is awesome. If some YouTuber, oh, yeah, it's fine. But wait a second. That's not what you want. You wanted the real thing, and now it's fine all of a sudden because some YouTuber went on and said it was great and it looks awesome and I'm going to buy it and he's going to buy it. It's like, come on, guys.
Well, it's what some people in the home arcade community are talking about when they say the word FOMO. I just explained to my father what FOMO was the other day. Fear of missing out. It's not because you're excited or particularly nostalgic for a cabinet. I mean, Rexer, how many people bought that god-awful purple nightlight Tron cabinet, paid that big money, even though they know Tron is a crappy arcade game? And I challenge anybody out there who's going to come to me and tell me that Tron is not a crappy arcade game, because Tron is a crappy arcade game.
Yeah.
Okay, real talk here. Let's cut the BS. Tron is horrible.
It's god awful. It's awful. It's god awful. Yeah.
And you're gonna pay all that money because the cabinet looks pretty.
You walk into an arcade with 50 games. That's the last one you're gonna play. If you know what I mean? It's like you're not playing that one. Here's the thing though about FOMO too. What about? Remember FOMO on NBA Jam? Remember FOMO on TMNT? Remember FOMO? All these people have all these arcades that they got FOMO on, and nobody could give a rat's ass about them anymore. Nobody could care less. What about Ridge Racer these people bought? They're not even, Terminator 2, it's out of sight, out of mind. They don't even, they bought all these arcades, the Simpsons. I mean, remember every single Golden Tee, every single one was FOMO, and they got these one-ups lined up in their back. And what do? They go and they stare at them, and nobody even plays them. And I'm going, geez. I mean, you guys, so you buy them because you want a game room and you want it to look nice. All right. I get it. Great. But at some point you look at them and go, what have I done? You know, what am I playing here? I can't play 17 games. You can't play every modern console and every game. You can't go online and play X-Men, Simpsons, Big Blue, Killer Instinct, NBA Jam. You can't do it. Go to the NBA Jam room. It's bare. There's nobody there. Go on X-Men and play and Simpsons and play online. It's bare. There's nobody there. Right. So in the end, the reason is you bought it because it looks pretty. Okay. Kudos to you. If that's what you wanted, you know, you got it.
And we've got it here from Twisted Gaming TV. Killer Instinct Pro is $9.99 confirmed to me. So $1,000 for the Killer Instinct Pro line.
$1,000. You probably got to upgrade sound. You hope that you don't have to update the buttons and joysticks, because I'm going to say it now. Wait. I'm going to say it now. Hap makes multiple kinds of joysticks. And if they throw Hap Ultimates in there, Ultimates in there and not the competitions, people should outrage over that, because you're going to have to upgrade again to ILs or Hap competitions. So let's be careful about what they actually throw in there, you know, and see what we have to upgrade still, you know. And
Willie Loomis says $250 is my limit for an arcade one-up. You are a smart man. Yeah. Let me just put it that way, Willie. Yeah. Because there's no need to be paying these a beat up car prices for an arcade one-up. I mean, give me a break.
Yep, it's ridiculous. I mean, people have, and like you talked about with multicades, right? Multicabs. I have a couple multicabs, just a couple, because that's all I need. I got one with a 4-way joystick and one that's a fighting game with 3x3, 2-player, right? That's all I have for multicabs. All I need, right? I got all the games I want on it, you know? But now you're talking about these rooms filled with, 20, 30 pinballs, arcade one-up pinballs that are a complete disaster that now people are selling off left and right. But when they came out, oh my God, these pinballs are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I had to sit there and go, are you guys nuts? Are you guys nuts that these pinballs are good? You can't even play half the games. There's lag in the thing. You can't even see the screen. So they got all these things lined up. You could buy a car and go and pay cash for these rooms with lined up, arcade one-ups, in your game room. And if you got the money, great. But you could do the same thing with putting one nice multi-cab in behind you, right? And when people come over, they'll play the multi-cab. I know everybody wants to show off to their friends. Pick whatever game you want.
It's incredible.
Get 2 multi-cabs. Get a 4-player.
Dude. Like this is what I don't understand. It's like there's a reason why so many of these independent arcade websites exist for building these multicades or these hyperspin machines that have like 10 million games on them. The idea is that, if you're going to spend that kind of money and you're not going to get, a real arcade, you're not going to get a real Killer Instinct. You just want something you want to get a multicade. Honestly, $700 will get you a pretty good, damn good multicade. Yeah. I gotta be honest. I mean, you can get it'll have one of those little mini PCs in it.
Sure.
It'll play Killer Instinct flawlessly.
Yep. It'll play Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which everybody wants. 2.
It'll play everything. Probably everything up to like PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to do all kinds of stuff, get any kind of artwork you want. $700 will get you like the greatest multicade you could ever ask for. So that's why I get confused when I see these kinds of prices, because it's not that it's not cool. Code Mystics did a great job with the emulation, whatever. It would be great. But don't you want people to be able to afford to purchase these things?
Yeah.
I mean, if you go into Walmart, and Walmart has been having some cutthroat sales on these arcade one-ups. I mean, you literally see signs at certain Walmarts, $250. There's some Walmarts that have had some of these one-ups for as low as $50 in recent months.
Yeah. That's where I got my first ones. Is I bought 3 for $50. and I think they were all Gen 1s, obviously. But that's when I people say, well, you don't even have them, Rex. I did. So don't tell me I didn't have them. I had them, and I can tell you. So
to answer your question here, Kongs R Us says, it'll be the non-hap competition sticks.
That's what I think, Kongs, but I'm not going to. It's almost like, when I do videos sometimes and I tell Arcade 1-Up what they're doing wrong.
You're telegraphing
and they still
the
do.
Truth to them.
I'm giving you guys a heads up. It's going to be chaos if you don't put the competitions in there. And it's the same like I look at their Centipede Pro model, right? And they put a picture up on Twitter today with their Pro model, right? And they're like, look we got the Centipede Pro and this thing's going to be awesome. Arcade 1-Up official site. And I literally want to go on there and say, have you guys looked at the screen and the way you have Centipede stretched out in this picture? And you have always done this on
even
all
if it's just a
your
picture.
arcades. Even if it's just a picture.
Don't do it.
Don't show it. But in the past, on like the Atari Legacy, the Centipede and Millimeter are stretched out like 4x, like a horizontal game. And I'm going, how do you guys not know this by now? You've done this on other arcades where you've screwed it up. And I'm sitting there going, I don't even want to tell them anymore. I don't even want to tell them what's right, because I've heard so many times, oh, John D, he's an arcade, he knows everything about arcade. I'm sorry, but John D doesn't know the difference between a 4-way and an 8-way joystick either. He didn't know that buttons go on the right side in Galaga instead of the left side. He doesn't know any of that stuff, right? He doesn't know the different types of joysticks. He doesn't know what aspect ratio Centipede is supposed to be in and Millipede. It's obvious, So don't, you can't tell me that these guys know anything about arcades. They're toy makers. They make toys, and none of them even play the games before they release them. Or they know that, oh my God, I can't even play on Homer because my thumb keeps whacking the thing. They know that, oh my God, the fire button's on the wrong side here. I can't believe it. But they don't, So I'm tired of warning them and telling them how things should be and should be better. I'm done with it.
So you get a company like Code Mystics to do the development for one of the most sought after arcades that Arcade 1-Up Tastemakers has ever put out.
Mm-hmm.
They put this out, and then we get people complaining, like we were talking about one little feature that was never included with the original cab to begin with, but now it's a big deal because you got everybody used to it.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think they'll get to a point where they'll finally get everything right out of the gate? Do you
I don't think ever.
There's ever a chance? Because I honestly, Killer Instinct was that opportunity.
Right.
When you have a company like Code Mystics that has a reputation for doing right by these classic games,
right?
And and you get a guy like Twisted Chris, who's like a Killer Instinct super fan guru, who knows about Killer Instinct like he knows the back of his hand, reviewing it, talking about how wonderful and great the emulation is.
Yeah,
there's no excuses
right.
for any other shortcomings at this point.
Think about this.
You don't need it.
Nobody at Arcade 1-Up went, oh, this thing doesn't have spectator mode. All our other ones have spectator mode.
All our other ones
There's
do.
There's not one person at Arcade 1-Up who played the machine and was like, it's missing this feature, And then what? You mean before they added the feature and you guys didn't even know it existed then? You mean that whoever did your online, lobbies before just added it for you and you guys didn't even know? Or it's maybe even worse off that you did know that it was left off and you didn't care about it. And you didn't actively say, well, maybe we should, maybe we should include this. I didn't hear anybody come out and say, oh yeah, we knew that it wasn't in there and we chose not to put it in there. And the reason why.
They created this controversy.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got people feuding with other people over this spectator mode thing. And I'll never understand it. We don't have anybody to blame for it, but Arcade 1-Up. Even Code Mystics came out and said, if you want that spectator mode, talk to Arcade 1-Up.
Yeah.
Listen,
they should have told us is basically what Code Mystics said.
Yeah.
They should have told us. Yeah, we know it's out there.
So
we
for me,
know spectator
I don't
mode.
understand whatever people's opinions are on spectator mode versus not spectator mode. Doesn't matter because the onus falls on Arcade 1UP for not doing it. So don't get mad at people who say, oh, it's okay that it's not there because I just want to be able to play it. I don't care if I get to watch people. People are going to have different opinions. There's nothing wrong with having a different opinion.
This is how inept their management team is. How unknowledgeable, how ignorant they are to what's going on with their arcades. It just shows that you have a company based on people who just want to take your money and make the biggest gross profit they can at the cheapest way that they can. And everybody sits there and eats it up and says, oh, feed me more of this shit sandwich. I'm sorry for swearing, Zod. Feed me more of this crap sandwich because I love it. And they keep eating it and eating it and eating it. And like I said in one of my streams, oh, you want a coin door here? Here's some mustard on your crap sandwich. But, oh, that's great crap sandwich with mustard on it now.
The problem is, though, with those coin doors. And now I'm going to ask you, Rexer, because we have here a comment, multicades are ugly, every 1UP fanboy. That's true. But here's the thing.
That's what they all say.
All the multicades that I have are all skinned Mortal Kombat 1 artwork. I love Mortal Kombat 1 so much that I have 3 multicades that are skinned with variants of the Mortal Kombat 1 artwork. Here's the thing I don't understand. One of the multicades, and I got to say this before I forget, one of the multicades that I have is a play minimal half scale Mortal Kombat, and it has a working coin door, not working in the fact that it takes coins, but it has the button in the right place, and it's lit up, and you press it, and it adds coins. Why is it so difficult for Arcade 1UP to do the wiring and put the coin door in the coin door slot, light it up, and when you press it, it adds coins?
It's not hard.
What's so hard about
there? You see the left one. You see the left one on my Mortal Kombat. It's a lit up button, and that's an emulation machine. Push the button, it adds a credit. It's not hard. It's not hard.
It's not hard.
You know, and I don't know about these molded coin doors and these stickers. Remember they put those stickers on the kick plates as coin doors? I'm going, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, these stickers look so awesome!" I'm going, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "This is like worse." I'm like, it's like a mockery to all arcades to put a faux sticker on a kick plate and say, look at my coin door. But yet they ate it up. They said, ooh, give me a coin door give me more, give me ketchup on that crap sandwich. You know, I love it. You know, but here's what I want to say when he says about multicades and what fanboys' excuse are. I don't want multicades because they're ugly. Well, like you said, they're not ugly. You get any artwork you want. You can get the real artwork.
Anything you
can
want.
Anything you want, man.
And it's fantastic.
And they'll do it for you. And they'll put it on for you at all these companies. They'll put it on for you. Know?
And in a lot of cases, a lot of these places aren't going to charge you anymore. I'm one of the lucky few in the world that has a Bobby Vucade. Bobby built me a bar top of Mortal Kombat 1 before he did Zohar's full-size Mortal Kombat 1. He did mine. I wanted a small bar top for my apartment. He did it for me. It's beautiful. It looks great. It's got the Johnny Cage side art. You can have anything you want. It's got like I don't know, close to 3,000 games on it, arcade only. It's fantastic.
Here's the other thing is the excuses that 1UP, fans have been making for the past 3 years are starting to go away. Right? The excuses to why they love their 1UPs, they're starting to be debunked, right? First it was, well, look at how cheap these are. They're not as expensive as a real arcade or a DIY, right? $9.99 for a decent arcade? $7.50? Okay, debunked. Oh, we like the small ones. We like how small they are and the sizes. Oh, the pro models came out and they're bigger. Oh my God, this is great. Oh my God, right? They're not as heavy. We like them because they're light. Well, what about the pro model? It's going to be heavier, Well, all these excuses as to why they didn't want, big
way
pinballs. Oh my God, I love this small pinball, right? And then you got YouTubers going out and buying real pinballs and selling their arcade 1-up pinballs. I'm going, wait a second. You guys said you love the size of these arcades, and this is the why you bought them, so you could have more, so you could line them up and they all look so good. And now you're selling them and getting bigger ones and searching for real
bigger
cabs.
balls.
You're
Yeah,
searching
bigger
for
balls.
real cabs, and you're buying real pinballs now, and you're searching for real. Wait a second. The hypocrisy is out of control. What did you guys just have selective amnesia of what you've said for the past 3 years as to why you love these 1-ups? And now you're just like, no, maybe they aren't as great. So I don't know.
Well, Sharon Peters had this to say in response to what you said about John D. Sharon Peters says, John may not know about an 8-way, but he sure knows about a 3-way. Believe me. I love Sharon Peters. Sharon Peters comes to all these streams, and she's like the biggest John D fan alive.
We're trying to figure out who Sharon Peters still is.
Sharon Peters
please
is
stand
awesome.
up. Please stand
up. I
up.
love Sharon Peters. She is awesome. And the Big Retro Show says spectator mode is inviting a bunch of your homies over to your house to watch each other kick ass.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? The other thing about, here's the other thing about KI, which I didn't say. You didn't hear, when I've said this before, I think, you didn't hear one person say how they loved KI for the first 3 years that it came out. These guys don't know how to do any kind of ultra combos or super combos. They don't know what a juggle is. They don't know how to do a combo breaker. They don't know any of it except people like Killer Arcade Games and those guys who, Dreamcast Kyle and those guys who are diehard Killer Instincts. And I'll tell you firsthand, I am not a Killer Instinct, guy. I don't know. I know how to play a little bit, I know the moves and some of the strategy, but I'm not going to claim to be. But what do? Killer Instinct. I got to have it. And they go out and buy Killer Instinct. You ask them one special move by any character, they probably couldn't even name 3 characters in the game. Is it fear of missing out? It's FOMO again. It was the worst case of FOMO I've ever seen. It really was. People did. I don't even, we could have got them in front before Killer Instinct came out and quizzed them on the game, and here was a funny thing too, is I did that on one of my shows. I had a trivia. I put up a picture, black and white, of one of the characters, right, in the game, and I said, name this character, right, and it was giving away a gift card. I said, name this character, and I don't know if it was it Fulgor or was it Jago? I can't remember who it was, but anyway. They nobody could get it except for one guy who knew, and everybody spelled the name wrong, whoever it was. I forget who I put up, but it was so funny. I was like, see, you guys don't know. You guys don't even know this game. You're spelling the character wrong. It was Riptor. It wasn't Riptor. Who was it? I can't remember.
Glacier.
It was the final boss, whose name is
Idol.
Idol. They were spelling it wrong, like IDIOL, and I'm going, what? I'm like, you guys don't even know what this game is, And finally, Dreamcast Kyle came in there and was like, this is who it is. And I'm like, see, you guys are all such huge Killer Instinct fans, but you don't even know one character's name in it. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox on Killer Instinct.
It's crazy with Killer Instinct. I mean, I keep saying whenever anybody asks me about Killer Instinct, I keep saying, I'll wait for the countercade.
Yeah.
Because you might as well. It's gonna happen, and that's one line of arcade 1-ups that I really love. I love the countercades. I think the countercades are great.
Yeah, because the 1-player ones. I don't like the 2-player ones.
Yeah. I don't like
they wobble, and there's no point of a 2-player
flotation devices that they made. I don't know. I don't really like that either. I think that I don't think that those should be 2-player.
They should have just made them 1-player.
But I do like the countercades as a concept because I think that you could have a whole bunch of those. You don't need a whole lot of space. Those are awesome. I mean, and you can play all the games. So I'm a big fan of countercades.
Yeah. Can we talk about this comment real quick?
Absolutely.
So I've said for years or whatever, because I've been playing online for a long time in different platforms. Fightcade is one of them. And Fightcade is a platform you could play all these fighting games on, whether it's Mortal Kombat or, Street Fighter or
Can you play
whatever.
Killer Instinct?
I'm not sure on Killer Instinct. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. But there's another one that starts with a G, and I can't remember that it's the same thing as Fightcade. But this is the thing about, fighting. If I watch on YouTube and I see matches, online matches, all these great players, the people who just want to play, they're playing on Fightcade. They're playing. So when I think about, oh my gosh, everybody's going apeshit over online play for Street Fighter. If you were really an enthusiast of Street Fighter and playing the game, you would have been on Fightcade, 8-10 years ago already doing it. You would have been on PlayStation, on PlayStation 3 or 4 already doing it. We talk about Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was online 10 years ago, with the 30th, with the arcade collection. I think
arcade collection. I remember. Yeah.
I was playing it on 10 years ago.
I had it on my PC, and you could, but you had
play
to connect through Microsoft, and you could play it online against people. It was laggy. It was buggy.
It was good on the PS3 though, because they use their own server. So I don't know. On the PS3, it was pretty good.
PS3, it was good. It was good on the PS3. I had it on the PS3 as well.
But all these people are like, oh, I'm like, if you really were such an enthusiast and you loved these games so much, you could have been playing them the whole time. Yeah, you're not standing up playing on an arcade, but you still could put a fight stick, plug it into a PS3, plug a fight stick into a PC, which is what all these guys do. Play the game, just play, So
I'm like, and this is why, like, when I see things like, for example, like the Big Blue that came out that was released through Arcade 1-Up, it's cool that there's all these online tournaments, but I'm not a Street Fighter guy, really.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to get the Big Blue just so I could play Street Fighter online and get my butt kicked every day.
Right. Which is what everybody really does if they're not doing this pre-planned, game. If you're not doing a pre-planned game or tournament, then you go online. There's one person online kicking everybody's ass, and everybody gets deterred.
Mortal Kombat is my game, so I'm good.
So you'll be the guy
Kombat
kicking everybody's ass.
So my problem. So here's my thing: if the Arcade 1-Up, they may have me for the 30th anniversary because I want to be able to go online on these tournaments, put your quarters on the glass, but my thing is, my big hang up, bigger than spectator mode, bigger than all these online, all this stuff. My big hang up, Rexer, is the Johnny Cage side art. I can't. To me, it's like saying, oh, look at this beautiful cabinet. We've replicated the shape. We've done all this, but you don't have the side art. And even though I have 3 cabs in my apartment that have the correct Johnny Cage side art, I can't sit there and look at that. It's going to bother me more than anything. And the thing about it is, I don't want to pay somebody to send me a vinyl Johnny Cage sticker to put over the dragon. I want it to already be there because I feel like you're going to be paying enough for this thing.
Right. And side art is expensive.
This thing is not going to be cheap.
No, and side art is expensive. It's not cheap. You're not going to get away with, $50 for side art, on something like that. So it's going to cost you a little pretty penny. But, here's the thing about Arcade 1-Up, which I wish they would do, which I know they'll never do, and I'll tell you why. I wish they would just sell me the PCB and the encoder. And I'll throw it in my own machine, right? I'll build my own and throw it in. But here's the reason why they won't. Because they know that they're not adding any value with the structure of their cab, with their cab. And they know that everybody would go, well, I don't want their piece of shit cabinet. I'll just buy the encoder and the PCB and I'll put this thing in my own thing. And that just proves to you that what they're building is garbage, because they won't sell you the PCB separately. They won't sell you the PCB and the encoder separately, because I would buy it in an instant. I would buy the Big Blue PCB in an instant, and I throw it in my own arcade and let's play online, let's do that. But they'll never do that. Why? Because they don't have any confidence in the rest of their product, and they don't want to lose those sales for you paying, $750 for cheap plywood, So,
well, but here's the thing though. If it got to a point where sales were waning, people really weren't buying that many more cabs, then that probably would be something that they would do. But we've literally got people, Rexer, who
Right.
buy every
Everyone.
single cab that comes out every single time. And what they do, what a lot of these people do is they justify it to themselves, because what they do is, well, I've got the Street Fighter, and I'll sell the Street Fighter
Yeah.
so I could get the Big Blue.
Yeah.
And then when the Big Blue comes out and they make a better Street Fighter that has like 25 different variations of Street Fighter 2, I'll get that. And I'll sell the Big Blue. So it's kind of like
you ever go on OfferUp though? You ever go on OfferUp or these sites? I see hundreds of these arcade one-ups for sale, man.
My problem with people on OfferUp is every time I message somebody on OfferUp about one of their cabs, they never respond.
They don't respond, right? Yeah,
I've never got anybody on OfferUp who actually was selling an arcade one-up.
Yeah.
Who actually responded. To the only person I ever had respond to an offer on OfferUp was this one person.
His name was Retro Ralph, because he was selling 50 of them. Retro Ralph, he responds right away. Hey, you want to buy my arcade?
Oh yeah, Retro Ralph will give you. Ralph will give you a good deal. Ralph will give you a good deal. But the thing is this person that was doing it was selling them modded with with like a Raspberry Pi in it, with like a 3B plus, was selling it with like a 3B plus for like $750. And I'd be like, but what else have you changed besides putting in a 3B plus?
Yeah.
I said, because I've got
get one for $25.
I've got a Pi 4, I've got a 3B plus already in a cab. I'm like, I don't need, why would I pay you $750? What are you doing? What's different? What else is different? And
what else you got for $700?
He actually responded and said, well, we've got light up buttons. It's like, I don't want light up buttons. None of the arcades that I used to play ever had light up buttons. I think light up buttons are the stupidest thing ever. Yeah. I've never had any interest in light up buttons. I like light up
LED strips on the control panel. I never.
Light up marquee is cool. But I'm one of those guys that I don't even really care if it has a light up marquee. Like that's why I don't have a problem with the iArcade not having a light up marquee and just having the speakers up there, because it's a more modern design. I don't care. That's fine, whatever. But like the light up buttons to me just makes it look like a toy. Makes it look like it's something coming from a toy company. Trying to get you to buy their latest stocking stuffer. I mean, I don't get it. I'm not into that. So when when he said that, well, it has the light up buttons, I was like, okay, well, thanks.
Yeah. But real quick. So Mike of All Trades talks about Fightcade, Redream. Parsec is another thing that people use, which it's more of like a screen sharing, I believe, where you tie into the other person's screen, but you can play anything through Parsec. You could do online anything. So you want to play, I forget what you were saying, Killer Instinct. If you can get it running on your PC, boom, you can play it, because it's more like I believe kind of like a team viewer or connection type thing. But anyway,
I see. Yeah, but it's not laggy. How do they do it?
I have never done Parsec or used Parsec, so I can't speak about it. But I know people who have, and they play a lot of N64 and stuff like that on it, because it's hard to do online N64 and stuff like that. So, but where were we? I don't even remember, because I had a couple things I wanted to say, but now I forgot. It slipped my mind.
And Twisted Gaming TV says, every time I went on Big Blue online, when I first got my Big Blue, there was no one in the lobbies.
Yeah. Well, I went recently to Retro Ralph's, not too long ago. The Big Blues were out for a while, and I was like,
I saw that video.
Yeah.
How's that Donkey Kong cab, by the way, before I forget?
It's coming. That's one of my next videos. It's coming. It looks amazing. And, I don't want to spill the beans on, it, but you're going to like it. I got a video coming out soon. That's one thing with my channel.
Awesome,
I don't do a lot of videos, but when I do them, I put a lot of time into them, right? I put a lot of effort, right? I could be like anybody else and go and stream every Monday and Saturday and put streams on and just blab, but I want to put something of value to people. You know, I want to put something that's interesting, right? So I just don't make up videos that are like, what are we gonna, look at? Let's predict what how the pro model's gonna look on the MK2. Are they gonna put?
I don't have a topic.
Are they gonna put Johnny Cage on the MK2 Pro model? Is there gonna be hap sticks on my next video? How tall is it gonna be? What's the price? Like 7 videos on the same thing. I don't have time for that. And these people just keep. Let's predict what's going to be the next pro model. Is it going to be a pro, whatever, Pac-Man? It's like, come on already. How do you guys have time to do? So anyway, getting back to my point is I want to put a little effort into this video with the new, with the Donkey Kong, with what I'm doing and restoring it. So, hopefully people find it interesting.
I was absolutely enamored by that story too, by the way, when you dropped over to Retro Ralph's place and they talked a lot about that. That's cool. And that's a great thing to see. That's a great thing to see people in the community coming together who are friends. And again, for a Donkey Kong cabinet of all things, that is amazing. That's great stuff.
Well, and you got to ask him next time you talk to him, say, hey, Ralph, who has the high score on your Jurassic Park pinball? Just keep harassing him about it. Go, hey, I want to know who has the high score on your pinball. Just keep ribbing him. He's like, I keep trying. And I'm like, you ain't going to beat that until, you play a bunch. But but anyway, so I played the Big Blue, right? I get online. I'm like, okay, I want to play Hyper Street Fighter 2, He's like, yeah, nobody's going to play you in Hyper Street Fighter 2 online. You might as well just, not even play it. I'm like, what do you mean nobody's going to play? He's like, nobody wants to play that online. Nobody's going to join you. Nobody. He's like, go ahead and try CE. And I'm like, I don't want to play CE. I played enough CE in my life. I want to play Hyper online. He's like, well, it ain't going to happen. You can go there and sit in the lobby and wait. He's like, but go play CE. So nobody's in a lobby in CE, but then I join the arcade. Like I start playing the arcade and then somebody joins and fights me in CE. But I'm like, this is terrible. I'm like, there's nobody in the lobbies. And so, I'm sure it's gotten a little better, but still, if you're the casual player, you're getting your ass whooped by these experts. They just sit there and peg you off, and I can hold my own, but even when I go on the 30th anniversary on PS3, I get whooped. Those guys are fantastic, and you can put in PS3 30th anniversary, I want a novice room, doesn't matter. Those guys aren't novices, most of them, they still come and whoop you, So online is like useless when that happens.
They know all the exploits. It's just like
they know all of them, man.
It's just like if you like to play Madden on PlayStation or Xbox. You get your butt handed to you all the time by people that know all the exploits and don't play it fair at all. They use every advantage and that's it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they know, if I'm throwing the ball to Mike Evans 4 times, he's going to catch it one of the 4 times, I'm going to throw the ball, to whoever, to Julio Jones, he's going to catch it one of the 4 times. I don't care. I'm going for it on 4th and 20, What? Okay. What? I don't know. I don't play a lot of Madden, but I play the old Madden, but not the new. But anyway, I know what you're saying.
Okay, and here we got with Mike Hawk. Here's the answer to the question. The answer to the pinball high score question. High score number 1 is Rexor. High score number 2 is Kim.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's funny.
And Sharon Peters is saying that Rexor just admitted to getting pegged. Oh my God.
Pegged meaning on Street Fighter, I guess he's saying.
Oh, okay. Okay, Sharon. You can always count on Sharon to throw something throw something pretty funny out there. Quit calling Kong a donkey, Rexor. Oh my God.
That's a good one. No, Kongs are us. I'm not calling you a donkey.
Oh my God. No. Yeah. No. It's just amazing to me because I think of like the whole concept of how these 1-up machines are getting more and more expensive as time goes on.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about how you can get a multicade with just about anything you could ever imagine for these prices. Mm-hmm. But is it that because 1-up has built up this consumer base,
this loyalty,
this brand loyalty and brand recognition to the point where even if somebody knows They can get a multicade with hyperspin in every game they've ever dreamed of
They don't care.
for the same price as that Killer Instinct. They don't care. They're going to get that Killer Instinct because, number one, it's that brand loyalty, that recognition. Number two, it's that online play.
Yeah, and it looks pretty. You can't argue with the fact that their arcades look pretty. You know, I've never said no, they don't look pretty. You know, the artwork is good, but I mean, sometimes you just have to look past that and go,
well,
do I want this because it looks good in the online player? Do I want it?
Games? What's your view on at games? Because at games is like the multicade with the, you know, that's actually like a brand name. So what's your view on them?
So I have played the at games, so played it a few times. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the size. I like the you know, the buttons and joysticks are a little bit better. They're not great. You know, it's a wider machine. Screen obviously a little bigger. It's more of an enjoyable playing experience if you're playing with two people. If you know what you're doing and sideload games, it's a pretty good deal for what, you know, you're paying for, right? Is it the prettiest arcade? No. But again, what are you buying it for? Do you want to play the games or do you want to look at your arcade and go, look how pretty this thing is in my arcade? And I want to play the games. I want to enjoy the experience. I don't want to bump elbows with, whoever, my wife or whoever we're playing a game with. I can't stand that. In the arcade one-ups, there is no two-player compatibility on any of them. You cannot play two players. It's just impossible. And so the at games is, you know, it's more to me for somebody who just wants to play the games and enjoy them, you know. So and for the price, it's not that bad. It's not that bad as a multicade. You know, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Zod? You know,
well, I mean, I've got the at games Legends Gamer Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I got it for a really good deal on Walmart.com had it on like a flash sale, and it was $44.99.
Yeah.
Okay. So I couldn't pass it up because it was it was literally the greatest deal ever. Okay. So I got it, and then I did the whole, you know, sauced thing where you can add, coin ops.
Yeah.
Coin ops.
I did all that.
And you can have just about anything you've ever wanted to play. And I put it up and I connected it to the, to a 50-inch TV. And to be honest with you, it was a really nice expensive. I mean, it was a really nice experience.
Yeah.
Again, the buttons and sticks compared to what you get on a one-up.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone, it's like, okay, well.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna kind of go against you a little bit on this on the gamer, because I won a Gamer Mini when I did the contest. They gave us all a Gamer Mini, and they sent me the Gamer Mini.
I've never used the Gamer Mini. I don't know.
It's the same thing I think as the Gamer Pro or whatever, and I got it, and I was kind of excited, and I don't want to talk bad about it because I have a little bit more higher standard for what I expect. Okay, out of and I'm sure you do too, but I'm saying for the most part, maybe some average consumer wouldn't notice what I noticed.
Right. Just to,
so I plug it, I play it. I set it up on Bluetooth and I play Space Invaders. It's the first game I played, and I start playing it and I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, the sound's missing. My spaceship the sound didn't go off when it exploded. I'm like, it's missing sound wave files in here. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, this is crazy, So I play a little more. There's a slight little, latency when you're on Bluetooth, slight. And on certain games you don't want it, but so I was like, I can't do it. As soon as I played that first game, and I hate to talk bad about ag games because it was only one game, but there's certain games that I guess, and I wrote them. I said, you guys know that you're missing sound wave files on some of your emulation here? And they're like, yeah, we're working on it. I'm like, working on it? This thing's been out for, 6 months now. What do you mean you're working on it? I'm like, it's missing sounds,
Oh, so you played, because I think Space Invaders is one of the games that's included.
Yeah.
With the cab.
Yeah. If I would have ran it on Coin Ops, I bet you it would have been fine.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I was just going to say, Coin Ops, it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I know you're exactly right. But I played it as the included, and I'm like, it seems like there's a little lag in the responsiveness, but it's on Bluetooth. I get it, but it's made for, but But anyway, it's
And
a
Papa
decent
Brad's,
product for the price.
Yeah, Papa Brad's Gaming says At Games is powerful and cheap. The
Mhm.
Legends Ultimate with Coin Ops X is a beast. And this is the thing that I was gonna say about At Games. They've got that Core Max coming out, which is an updated version of the Core, which is supposed to be more powerful.
Powerful, yeah.
And I'm wondering, is that going to be able to run like if you run a new version of Coin Ops, would that be able to run Killer Instinct? Because if it can,
yeah,
that would be fantastic.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I'm just saying,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I would probably say no, because I've seen what it takes to run Killer Instinct. I have a lot of single board computers and PCs, and it takes something pretty beefy, or it takes somebody like Code Mystics to redo the whole emulation and optimize it, on a piece of junk PC. So it's more of the emulator and the ROM, and that when it comes to running it on lower hardware. But let's see how beefy this new puck is,
Or
Max. This Max
I'm
is.
excited about it. That's something I definitely want to get. And I got a $4.99 super chat here from my good friend Console Fanboy, aka Zohar. Rexer looking good. Zod, what's up? Respect your channels, dude. Both of yours. Thank you, Console Fanboy. Appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for the super chat. You're always,
That's awesome.
Man. I always got your back. That's a thing, man. Console Fanboy is another very misunderstood person. A lot of times, I feel like he puts out a lot of satirical stuff that's really funny, and sometimes people take it the wrong way.
Sometimes it's right. Yeah, sometimes he's right. Yeah.
And so this is where I sit here and I say, sometimes stuff just needs to be said. And people don't always they just don't always get it. And that's unfortunate.
I would say I'm 50-50 with what Console Fanboy says sometimes, where I completely agree, and then I'm on the other side of the fence where I completely disagree sometimes, but we get along, and I talk to him every once in a while, via chat.
This is the thing I try to do. I try to get along with everybody, because I'm one of the because there's people that I agree with, and then there's people I disagree with, and I feel like just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean you have to hate the person. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, because you can find common ground with people you disagree with, and you may find that you have a lot in common with them outside of the thing that you disagree with. So I've never understood people that are totally closed off to making a new connection based on one disagreement about something. I mean,
no, and I'll tell you a quick thing is, I talk with UAG, your average gamer. People don't know. I talk with OTG, Overthink Gaming. I have text chats with them, and we go at it hard. I go at it hard. They know I'm picking on them. I'm like, hey man, I disagree with you on this. You guys are way off, but we never let it get personal. And they see, look at it. He's even saying it, right. I don't usually agree with your average gamer, and I'll text him, and he knows I'm coming at him. I'm like, dude, that was wrong. You're wrong. You're way off. But we never we never get personal, and we always talk about the facts. This is why I don't agree. This is why I don't like what you did. This is why I think what you're doing is wrong. Right. And we just argue that way. And OTG, man, I gave him hell. I wish he was on here right now. I gave him hell about the RGT thing, man, the RGT 85 thing. I gave him hell about it. People don't know that, they don't, but on the side, he got some flack about it for sure, and but he doesn't hate me because of it. He says, okay, Rex, that's your opinion. I think, whatever,
No.
And
that's why I say nobody should ever hate anybody over stuff like this. This kind of stuff is all supposed to be fun. It's all supposed to be exciting. It's all supposed to be stuff that makes you happy, stuff that you like, a hobby. It's not supposed to be something that you're feuding and fighting with people over. You could disagree, you could have heated arguments, but it's just, I'll never understand. Like for me, for example, I started off, where I was totally at one point completely opposing Arcade 1-Up, just like everything. And at one point, it was like, John D, was at one point was really, really close to like blocking me and stuff. And over time, was like, we settled our differences that we had, and now, John and I are cool, everything, it's fine. But I know that I know that you've had your differences with John D as well. And so I wanted to ask you, I mean, have you and John D kind of made peace? Have you and John D kind of settled the grievances that you had?
No, there's no settling there. I'll tell you a quick story. I told people on my show or on my channel, if you come, you're going to hear stories I've never told. And here's a story that I haven't told. Everybody knows who watched the video I did, and I still stand by it. Okay. Yeah. I still stand by my position, and I always will. And I people ask me, well, did John D ever apologize? Did he, this and that? And some people say, well, why did you do it, Rex? Or, you didn't have to do that. And number one, I tell them, I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it until a friend of mine said, because I kind of wanted to see if he'd ever apologize. A friend reached out to him and said, you don't understand Rex's situation, and that was an inappropriate comment or whatever they said, and he kind of brushed it off and was like, well, whatever. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't know that, And then I kind of was like, well, he doesn't get it, he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand the inappropriateness, and it irked me even more that he didn't get it, that he doesn't understand that he's not untouchable, that you're not supposed to do that stuff as a senior. So then I made the video. So then, a lot of kickback, a lot of, I don't blame people. People want to defend it. That's fine. We're not here to talk about that. But, you say, did he ever apologize? No. But who did apologize was his boss. His boss wrote me an email, and I was like, yeah, listen, I'm extremely sorry about what happened. That's not what Tastemakers is all about, blah, blah, blah. If you ever want to talk, give me your number. So I found that really great that he reached out to me and understood that I was kind of hurt by that comment and, the way things transpired. So, that's what happened. But I don't think, it's not something that is ever, unforgivable. But, he had the chance, is what people don't understand, to reach out to me and clear the air before it all happened. I let a week go by before I even thought about doing it, and I reached out to tons of people and I said, should I do this? Now he even knows how I feel and he doesn't even care, and I kept thinking in my head, he's done this before. He's said things about other people's channels online. He's given people the finger. He's wrote poems, right? He called us all drug addicts for stealing ROMs. He's done all this. I'm like, it's time somebody has to speak up. It's time. And I understand a lot of the community loves him. And we talked in the beginning, why Rex, are you the hated person? Well, that's one of the reasons right there, And, do I regret doing the video? No, I don't. I never will. I stood up for what I believe in, and I wish everybody would do that, in their life. If you believe in something strongly, you should fight for it, and you should stand up for it, and you should teach. You should lead by example and teach people the right way. So,
always stand up for what you believe in.
What you believe in.
And that no matter what. Everybody else might think you're crazy or think that you're wrong. But if it's something that you believe in and it's something where you have conviction, you should always stand up for it. I fully agree with you there. And yes, that's how it should always be, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
It's but I mean, so were you at least satisfied with that?
I was happy. I didn't expect them to write me or say anything, about it. I really didn't, And was I harsh about some of it in my video? Yeah, probably. But for them just to admit that it was wrong, and that, he specifically said this is not a representation of our company and what we, stand for. And that's all I needed to hear, is that, it was in bad taste and wrong, period. And then I even said to myself, when I go in, if John D does any kind of reaching out and apologizes, I'll take the video down, I'll take it down right away. I really don't care, what's right is right, and I gave him the chance to apologize long before I published it, after he knew, my situation and how I felt. and he still didn't. So I was a little disappointed in that. And it's not like people say, oh, he didn't know. Everybody knows my email. He was talking to the guy who has my phone number. You know, my friend told him, you know, hey, this is what you got to realize it. You know, so don't, you know, there's no excuses really, but you know that people be people. That's fine. I don't, you know. That's just the way it is. I was happy.
We have a great comment here from Sharon Peters. I gotta say, Sharon always knows how to lighten the mood around here. And Sharon says, we all know that there's more love in the retro arcade community than all the glory holes in San Francisco. Oh my God, Sharon, you are hilarious. We just I don't know. And Console Fanboy says, I'm dying to know who you are, Sharon.
We all are.
You're so funny. I just need to know already. And Twisted Gaming makes a good point here. Chris, you're always on point, brother. And he says, Retro Ralph got tired of all the BS. That's why he moved on.
Yeah.
And look, to Retro Ralph's credit as well, he moved on to something, a part of the hobby that he's even more passionate about than he was when he was doing the One Up Weekly and all that kind of stuff. He's gotten into the whole idea of rehabbing and acquiring original, real, authentic arcade machines. And that's fantastic. I love every time he puts out a video. Like, I love it because he's talking about, hey, I just got Mortal Kombat 2 and NBA Jam, this, that, and the other, and the whole video he did about when he got the one that got me the most excited was when he did when he got the Sinistar.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, I was like, there
crazy.
you go. Now that's a great, great game.
You know, that's what I say about YouTube too. If you're a creator, and I bash a lot of channels. If you've watched my channel, I'll stay straight up. You know, some of these channels are phonies, and a lot of people do. And I'll name them. I hate to name them, but I bash John Riggs. I say I can't believe this guy does certain videos that are completely useless. There's no educational. A little educational value. They're not. There's no production value. They're very lazy. John Hancock. And I'll even say with RGT85, it's lazy content. There's nothing interesting. When Ralph does a video, there's thought in it. There's something unique. It's creative. He puts an intro in there that's creative. He does the work and puts in the effort to make it a good channel. And people say, well, how do you make a good channel? Well, one thing is you should have been in, 5-10 years ago, and you'd have, you'd be like Riggs, who can put out top 5 Sega games for, the rest of his life every year, and people will watch, 10,000, 20, 30, 50,000 people will watch it. Or you better do what Retro Ralph did and sit there and do unique mods, right? Do unique mods, stuff that other people haven't done. Do like To Die For and build crazy stuff. Do what Kongs R Us does and do such unique stuff. That and speaking even their channels.
Speaking of unique, what Bobby Vu did today with the iArcade, that new mod that he created with the tablet, it's one of the most innovative, awesome things I think I've ever seen. When it comes to the arcade community, I'm like,
and you're watching stuff like that, and you don't, are you sure you don't want to watch that, or you want to watch Open Cart Surgery for the 50th time on Riggs' channel?
Not only that,
it's amazing.
You look at Retro Ralph, and you look at what Retro Ralph is doing now, and all the perfect examples you gave, and it's pretty easy to understand why he left that arcade picker show. It's very easy to understand that, because at this point, it's just like, well, I want to rehab and preserve the history of these machines, not rehab the shell of it and stick a Raspberry Pi 3D Plus in it.
And an LCD and do that.
What are you doing? That's a whole nother topic.
Thing. I will say this: Corey, his former partner, did an excellent job on the TMNT when he did it the right way, which is try to restore it to its original form. And it was an amazing video and an amazing job that he did. So that was good. But yeah, I mean, people take their own directions and go one way or the other. And, but even like the original arcade pickers, what an excellent idea. What a unique original idea, to do something fun, something original, have some personality,
Well,
I mean,
and
Sharon Peters says it right.
Right here, John Riggs has a balding mullet. It's an interesting look.
I mean, and I'll say this. Listen, I call out Riggs. I don't have anything against Riggs, but when the guy goes and does a video and talks about WADA and promoting and selling things that are associated with WADA after WADA had just been exposed by I forget the guy's name who has that awesome channel, but been exposed, and then he's promoting stuff that's affiliated with WADA and talking about WADA. I'm going, oh my God, are people not seeing this? This is right after WADA was exposed, and he's sitting here promoting and selling stuff about WADA, and then he had the Popeye video, which was a complete farce. So it's just stuff like that. Like, there's so many other good channels out there and people doing unique stuff and interesting stuff. And here these guys have usurped the algorithm of YouTube and totally destroyed the platform that was so good for people who were creative and unique and had interesting concepts.
The great thing is that those people that are creative and unique and are doing all these kinds of things still exist, and they are doing these things. And that's the saving grace. That's why YouTube isn't a doomed platform yet, because we still have that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like I honestly, when I watched the Bobby Vu thing on the Arcadian where he was doing his reveal for that, and how happy he made everybody, how happy he made Jong, how he was bringing people together. When you see something like that, it's inspiring. And when you can inspire people, that's invaluable, being an inspiration. And Console Fanboy wants to know, Rexer, will you ever buy an Arcade 1-Up product, i.e. the Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary online? I want to see how you are online.
Well, I won't buy the first 30th anniversary online because, again, the form factor just does not suit me. It doesn't, it's too small. It's unplayable. I'd have to really mod it. I will gladly go find someone who has it, and I will get online and I will smash people, on 2 and 3. I'm not that good at 1, but I will absolutely smash you at 2 and 3 whenever you're ready. And I will take that to the bank. So, and I haven't played. Can I tell you a story? I told people I'd tell a story. Can we go out on this story about MK1, MK2, MK3? Yeah, I've never told this story. People don't ask me, your history. Rex, why do you like arcades? How did you get started? All that stuff. But I told my people.
I was going to do that. But
okay, I'm going to tell you it then.
Go ahead, though.
All right, here's the story. So when I was, 18, 17 after college, I went to college 17. I used to go, in the summers to an arcade, in Michigan. It was CJ Barrymore's, right? And it was everybody from Michigan who's in the Sterling Heights area, the Utica area, knows what I'm talking about. And I would go there and I'd play arcades during the day, and or whenever I had a chance, and it got expensive. You have to buy tokens, so I kind of got in with the person who was the arcade tech and had the token. This is back when people had tokens, and remember the guys would have like a bag of tokens because if your token got stuck, they either open the machine or they just give you free tokens. You'd be like, hey, my token didn't go through.
They could just pull tokens out of anywhere, out of their ear. There you go.
So I got in good with the guy, and and then I'm like, well, I need a job this summer, and the guy's like, oh, you want to get in here? I'm like, yeah, can I work in the arcade? He's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, well, what about another job? He's like, well, we're hiring in the go-kart area, the go-kart area. I'm like, oh yeah, go-karts, that sounds fun. So I apply, I get a job, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do go-karts, and I've ridden on the go-karts there. They had these fast go-karts and a long track, and whatever you make, I don't know, back in the day, maybe it was $10 an hour. I don't even remember. Right. So I go to work first day, and they stick me on the kiddie go-kart track, and they're like, here, go over here on the kiddie go-kart. It was like this small circle, right? And the kids are like 6 years old riding around. I mean, they're so young. I'm like, I can't even believe they allow these kids to ride these go-karts. And it was dangerous because you'd have to run out and like stop the kids when the time was up, and they'd be running into you and like trying to kill you. They didn't know how to stop, you know? And I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, I'm getting killed out here. You know, I'm like, how do I, and they're like, just wait, you know, you'll get to we'll move you up, you know? And I'm like, well, I want to work in the arcade, you know? So every day I'd go in the arcade and I'd watch this guy, you know, who was the tech, and I'd be like, hey, you know, how can I get a job? And he's like, oh, there's only 2 positions, you know, day and night, and they're both taken, you know? And I'm like, darn it, you know? Well, anyway, I get moved up to the other, the real go-karts, you know, which was fun because we actually took the governor off one of them, and we'd all drive around, and people would all be going the same speed, and then we'd jack it up and be zipping around all of them, and you know, they didn't know that we took the governor off, you know. But anyway, finally a guy quit in the arcade, you know, and the first thing I did was I went and I applied. I'm like, I want to be in the arcade, and they're like, what do you know about arcades? You know, what do you know about being an arcade tech? And I'm like, oh, I know how to fix everything. I didn't know shit. I'm like, yeah, I can fix all this. I can do all that, you know? And so they hired me, and I was like, yes, I was the guy who had the pouch, you know, and mainly you fixed a lot of the ticket stuff because they had tickets, you know, where you're fixing skee ball shit. And, you know, if anything ever really broke, you'd have to call somebody else. But that's how I got great at a lot of these games. I would just sit there. I had unlimited tokens. I'd take a handful home, and I'd come back the next day when I wasn't working, and I'd just sit there and play MK2. And then the next summer it was MK3 and Killer Instinct and all. And I just dominated. It was unfair because I played so much of it that nobody could even touch me, you know? And I had so much unlimited play. And that's the story of how I, you know, kind of understood how arcades worked, how I fixed them. You know, joysticks would break and we'd try and fix them. And, you know, but basically I'd just open up the coin door, whack in about 50 credits, and I'd say, hey, come on, let's play, guys, for free, you know? And people would be like, yeah, you know, we're playing for free. Just loaded it up with credits. And that's all I did all day. That was my summer job. It was the best job I ever had, you know? And every summer I'd go back and do it, you know? So that's the story. Sorry if I wasted people's time.
So that instilled your love for arcade machines. It like made it a permanent fixture.
It made it a permanent fix. I had always loved arcades since I was a kid. I mean, I used to, you know, at 5 years old, we used to go to, you know, many arcades, but the one that really stands out, and I say it in my Donkey Kong video, was the penalty box. You know, we played hockey, and after hockey, we'd always go to the penalty box, and everybody was playing arcades, you know, and that's all we did was play arcades, and how much fun it was.
One of my first jobs, whenever you'd get in trouble, the boss would say, okay, I'm going to put you in the penalty box.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It just like stuck out.
That's what it's called. We'd have pizza and video games, man. And me and my brother and all the teammates would play. And that you know, that's kind of how I got hooked. But then after that, you know, I always played. I dumped a lot of my own money into, you know, Mortal Kombat 2 to learn how to play it, even before I became the tech, you know? So, you know, that's kind of how it all got started. And, you know, the rest is history really from there. But when people talk about MK2, now I'm probably a little rusty, but I'll still kick console fanboys' butt in it. So
I don't know. The console fanboy, that's his game. And Mortal Kombat, I don't know. For me, my game has always been Mortal Kombat 1. I love Mortal Kombat 1. It's like my favorite arcade game of all time. But
you know, I was too nervous to play it when I was, you know, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to get my spine ripped out, you know. So you'd sit there on the sidelines and you'd watch, and then you try and wait to play it by yourself, right? And you never could because people were just lined up to play it, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I never really played that until I want to say my freshman year in college. They had a Mortal Kombat 1. You know, although Mortal Kombat 2, I think, was just coming out right after when I got to college, but they had a Mortal Kombat 1, so then I'd play it. But they also had a Street Fighter in college in the dorm room, and that's really all I played was Street Fighter. But I did play Mortal Kombat 1 too because it was free. But I never thought it was that deep of a game after Mortal Kombat 2 came out. I'm like, wow, this game is so much more deeper. And then MK3 comes out, and you're like, oh, this game is really much more deeper than... you know, all these other games.
Well, Twisted Gaming TV wants to know. He says, you know about the Mortal Kombat 2 Plus and Ultimate MK Plus updated games, Rexer? I have the updated ROMs in my original machines.
So it's interesting he mentions that because I was talking about that with Retro Ralph, who had just discovered about this plus type
Plus.
ROMs where
I've
you
seen-
change
I've
the
seen the
ROMs out of your
website.
board.
Yeah.
Yeah, you change the ROMs out of your board, and he had bought them, and he was going to do a video on the plus type, you know, setup where, and I don't know too much about it, but I know that it's like kind of like, I don't know, I guess I'll say hacks where you can play all the characters, I guess, in certain.
There's a lot of great stuff
Yeah.
that they're doing with it, and they're working on a plus for Mortal Kombat 1. So I
Okay.
can only imagine what that's going to be. But here's one thing I will mention though. There was a group that came out with Mortal Kombat Arcade Edition for Sega Genesis, where they went in and redid it, changed the sprites, added animations. You know, it is fantastic.
Yeah.
If this version of Mortal Kombat would have came out back when the console was going on, they would have literally wiped the floor with Super Nintendo. It even has the best feature in it that I think it has, that if you beat the game all the way through with one life, you don't die at all. You get to the very end, you beat Shang Tsung at the end.
Yeah.
You fight Ermac at the Warrior Shrine. The way those that remember this back in the video game magazine days, Electronic Gaming Monthly ran an article where saying that you could face Ermac in Mortal Kombat 1 if you did certain things. And it was just a like a rumor, and then they showed a picture, Ermac wins, whatever. This version of Mortal Kombat, the arcade edition for Sega Genesis, makes this a reality.
Okay.
Where you do get to face Ermac, like the red clad ninja. It's unbelievable.
I actually used Ermac a lot when he was playable in 3. I kind of liked Ermac.
And there's also a hidden way to fight Noob Saibot in this version of Mortal Kombat 1 as well. I don't know how to do it, but apparently there's some way you can do that as well. And you can also play as Reptile if you want to. So so many options, so many things. So I'm thinking there might be some of that added into this Mortal Kombat Plus.
Yeah. I don't know if people watch. I want to say his name is Megatron87 on YouTube, or Megatron. That guy plays every ROM hack of every Mortal Kombat and is one of the greatest, I'll say, against the AI players I've ever seen. You know, and I don't know if people know him or watch him, but he plays a lot of ROM hacks where he's playing as every character. You know, there's 4 endurance people instead of 2. You know, whatever. You know, he's playing Goro in the endurance, and there's just so much stuff like that people have hacked and done with it. But his channel, he plays it all. I mean, he does it on hard, very hard. You know, he's one of the most, you know, the most Mortal Kombat, you know, enthusiasts and, you know, best players against the AI. Now, I don't know how good he is against other people, but, you know, against the AI, he's fantastic.
It's when you play against the AI and you get good against the AI, you think that's going to make you good against the living.
Somebody else.
And what you find out is no,
it's not the same. Right.
It's never the same.
Right.
And I honestly, so I don't know, man. To wrap things up, I gotta say thank you so much for being here tonight, man. I appreciate this. This has been so much fun. I mean, you are a blast to hang out with. This has been such a fun chat. I mean, we covered and talked about so many different things tonight. This is how these late night Q&As are. This is what I like to do. This is my favorite stream on YouTube to do on my channel, because I just love to just sit down and just chat with everybody, have a nice time, no drama, just some fun and exciting conversation. And I mean, you've been a great guest, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
Thank you.
One of these days, you get me and Retro Ralph on, and we do.
We're gonna get you guys. I'm gonna get you guys together, because me and Retro.
It gets ugly. It gets ugly when me and him are on.
We were talking about how we're gonna collaborate more this year, and
awesome.
So that's something we'll definitely do, Rexer. I would definitely love to have you and Ralph on, and we could all hang out, and that'll be fun. And next week on Late Night Q&A, all the home arcade enthusiasts are going to want to come back, because I'm going to have Akuma Rev from Put Your Quarters on the Glass. So that should be a really, really fun show. I'm looking forward to that, but it's getting late now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take up everybody's time here, but take care, everybody. Sharon Peters wants Rexer to take his shirt off. And Council Fanboy says great show. Yeah, you wants to see your six pack.
Yeah.
So
all right, thanks everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you again, Rexer, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.
Awesome.